Hi, welcome back to Movie Review Mom. I'm the mom and I do the movie reviews. And you can also catch me on Instagram as Movie Review Mom and on Facebook as Movie Review Mom. Thanks for spending a few minutes with me. And when you get a minute, be sure and subscribe down below and click on that little bell notification, and it'll let you know as soon as I've posted new movie reviews for you to watch. All right. So, speaking of movie reviews, the movie I'm reviewing today is called The Last Duel. It's rated R and is 2 hours and 32 minutes long. Pretty long film. I'm going to give you an overview in a nutshell, and I'll point out things I liked and didn't like, as well as offer tips for parents. And the biggest tip is this is not an appropriate movie for kids. It's not family-friendly viewing either. I'll tell you more about that coming up. But anyway, let's dive in. So, in a nutshell, this epic tale is based on Eric Jaeger's 2004 book called The Last Duel, a true story of trial by combat in medieval France. King Charles VI declared that Knight John de Carouge settled his dispute with his squire by challenging him to a duel in 14th century Europe. Now, this is after the country had banned it, but they persisted, or I should say, Jean de Carouge persisted and was able to have a duel. But no spoilers in this review. I'm not going to tell you what happened or who won or anything like that. The dramatic film was directed by Ridley Scott, and he also directed a film in 1977 called The Duelists. So he was definitely interested. Let me tell you some things that I really liked about the film. First of all, I adore Adam Driver. His performance in Marriage Story, I don't know if you saw that, was jaw-dropping and absolutely deserved his Oscar nomination. I was really hoping he was going to win. However, Joaquin Phoenix won for his role in Joker, which of course was also very well deserved. But anyway, I love Adam Driver. And in this movie, he does a very good job, but it didn't make my jaw drop. I mean, he's still awesome. I still love him. I also really love Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. It's really great to see them together. This is the first time they've actually written a film together since Good Will Hunting, clear back in 1997. They were both good. Ben Affleck a little less so. I think his blonde hair was super distracting, and he didn't show a lot of depth of character, but Matt Damon showed some good acting chops, and I thought he did a really good job. He physically looked different, and I think that translated into a pretty powerful performance. Fun fact number one, apparently Matt Damon can't grow facial hair, and so the makeup department had to glue on a beard to his face, and it gave him such a bad skin rash that he had to put ice packs on his face after filming every scene. His face looked odd really the entire time, and that probably had something to do with it, in addition to, they added scars and things like that. And then his mullet was super distracting. So I guess it wasn't an A+ hit on the hair and makeup department. But anyway, I instantly became a fan of Jodie Comer when I first noticed her in Free Guy. I thought she did a really good job. Fun fact number two, the movie was filmed in France and in Ireland. Production was halted due to the pandemic, of course. And while in Ireland, Matt Damon actually was named an honorary Irishman by the locals that were living there. There are some very brutal and realistic battle sequences, and people are loving on all of the action in this movie. In case you're wondering, much of the movie actually showcases historical facts. Some things have been changed a little bit. For example, there is an incident that the whole movie is really focused on that was apparently way worse than how it shows in the movie. And I was just like, thank you for not showing us all of the way worse stuff, because it's still pretty bad. It was really sad to see how little people understood about sexuality and pregnancy in the Middle Ages. And of course, we've all known that their understanding of medicine was, pretty low as well. Now, there were some things that I didn't like. And first of all, I really wanted to love this movie, but I kind of struggled with it. It took me a long time to get into it. And the bulk of the movie really is about a sexual assault, illustrated in many scenes, same event over and over again, as well as other scenes. And I was just like, oh, I didn't know it was going to be all about this. I really didn't know anything going into it. I hadn't even watched the trailer. So heads up in case you're thinking it's just going to be a fun medieval movie about jousting. Oh no, it goes much deeper than that, and in very dark ways. It's annoying to watch a movie taking place in medieval Europe where some of the people speak with a British accent and then the American actors sound completely American. Some of them attempted to have sort of a British accent, but the accents were all over the place. And I found that to be a little distracting. Now, the movie takes place in France, and I didn't really hear anybody speaking with a French accent. That might have equally been distracting. I don't know, but it just sort of pulled me out every time people were speaking. I'm like, what accent are you going for there? I don't know. Now, it's also super important to understand that the movie is divided into 3 chapters. Some viewers might get confused when certain scenes start to repeat. So the intent is to illustrate different perspectives, 3 in particular, of key events and how those events were seen in very different ways. And so I think the telling of the story is interesting. However, it does tend to get a little bit repetitive. There are a lot of scenes with people eating, which is funny because when I think of medieval movies, I think of people chewing on the big turkey drumstick, and the bad guy is always eating and laughing. And, so you kind of see that kind of a cliched thing. There was hardly any promotion for this film. And so it really flew under the radar for most audiences. And so I think it does have a lot of good, but it also has some things that viewers need to be aware of before they dive in and jump in to see this movie. Let me give you some tips for parents. Speaking about that, as I mentioned, the movie is not appropriate for kids. There is bloody, brutal violence and battle scenes. In fact, there's this one scene that is so disgusting that even the people watching the scene, watching the battle, are like, oh. Anyway, it's pretty bad. You see naked women rolling around on a bed, and then a man goes to join them. There's talk of and clothed portrayal of sex scenes as well as rape several times in the movie, including sound effects. So again, not something for children at all. The themes that are definitely worth talking about are love, friendship, war, debt, truth, credibility, respect, gossip, appearances in social settings, sexual assault, and toxic masculinity. Now, I always write down funny lines and interesting lines, and I share them on my written review at moviereviewmom.com. And I'll share some of them with you right now. First of all, there's no funny lines because this is really a dramatic movie. Actually, now that I think about it, there was a funny line, and this is spoken by a guy as they were talking about this trial, as the woman was telling everyone she was raped and she wants to prosecute and have the guilty person go to trial and all of that. Well, anyway, a very wise man says, a rape cannot cause pregnancy. It's just science. So that actually did make me laugh out loud. And sadly, that's what they believed. Anyway, there are many conversations about whether or not Marguerite, the one who has been raped, should remain silent. And she tells someone, I intend to speak the truth. I will not remain silent. And then her mother-in-law actually tells her the truth does not matter. And obviously, a lot of people think she needs to just remain silent because that's what women did. And then later on, as she's trying to decide whether or not she made the right decision, she says, a child needs his mother more than a mother needs to be right. And so the movie also has a lot to do with sacrifices and what people are willing to sacrifice and not for truth and for speaking out, having your voice heard and that kind of stuff. So the book and the movie bring to light a lot of interesting topics that are worth talking about. So overall, I'm going to give the movie a B. It again could have been so much better, and I wanted it to be, but still what there is worth seeing as long as you know what you're getting yourself into when you watch the movie. Now, let me give you a couple of recommendations for some other Ridley Scott movies that I think you might like. He's done a ton of films, but one that I just really enjoyed is The Martian, also with Matt Damon. It is much more lighthearted. There are some serious moments and definitely some choices and sacrifices made in that movie as well. But it's better for family viewing. And then, of course, Gladiator. Now, that one is not family friendly. There is some brutal, gory, bloody violence, but also very, very well done. All right, that's it for my review today. I hope that if you watch this movie, that you do enjoy it and that you get some good conversations going. Thank you so much for joining me today and for subscribing. Be sure and comment down below. YouTube actually loves it when people do that, and it spreads all kinds of YouTube juice all over my videos so that more people can find them. Thank you also for those of you who are going over to Patreon to support me there. I really appreciate that. All right, I will catch you in the next movie review. Bye for now.